All right, welcome to Optimized Dental Study Group. We're so excited to have Lucas Saylor here today and going to go over marketing strategies. What's cool about Lucas is he is a big proponent of building up practices and attracting new patients and getting those new patients into the practice and being able to actually track them, which is like for me um, a huge part of marketing. It's very difficult to do an ROI or return on investment. And so Lucas and I met at PDC, and we were immediately, I was taken by all the information that he had to offer and the education and how much passion he has for marketing, which for me is like really awesome because that I like to surround myself people who are passionate about what they're doing and how they're helping the dental field grow and really just giving us an advantage, as much of an advantage as we can get against our competitors, which can be, the person next door, but it also can be like corporate entities and stuff where they have massive amounts of marketing budget and strategists and people that can do those things full time, whereas we are a smaller area, smaller groups or smaller practices have to outsource that to someone who's capable. But that also gives us a distinct advantage as well because we're not trying to do this across 20 practices. We're having someone that is honed in and is going to be able to help us specifically towards our network. We're not blanketing something because we know that dental clinics aren't all cookie cutter. There's different demographics and different things going on within the practice. And so we're happy to have Lucas on to like kind of go over a few things with us and kind of help us with that advantage and give us some education on the background of what he does as well. But Lucas, tell me how you got started into this whole field of marketing and what you're doing now.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when I was a teenager, my parents actually own a dentistry clinic just where I live here in Vancouver, Canada. And I started out building their website, learning some things about marketing, and then working with some other local practices. And I found that all these practices had the same problem, which was getting more patients. And over the last 5 to 10 years of being in the marketing world, working with dentists and healthcare clinics, we've tried social media ads, we've tried all the different ways, and we have found that the best way and the most predictable way to grow your practice is through search marketing. So that's Google Ads, SEO. And the reason we believe this and we see this to be successful is because we believe that in the world of dentistry and healthcare, it's very much a preventative industry. So people have a problem, they're searching for a solution, and we want to make sure that our customers are the people that come up and they provide the best experience to their website, and they're being found first before their competitors. And ultimately, if we can place our customers, our practices that we work with at the top of Google, all of that market share is going to come to them. And that's where we find the most success, especially long term. A way I like to think about it, and I explain it to a lot of my clients, is we're trying to transform your practice from just a practice with a website to a practice with a website that actively generates patients for you every single month. And that makes a huge difference to the bottom line of your business. So we focus in our business, our core values. We strictly focus on getting customers and growing your revenue, and we do that through search marketing.
That's awesome. So denture is very much attached to the dental side of like where most of us and the reach that we have will be kind of touching as well. And it's interesting that denturists don't get really included in as much in the whole like dentist side of things, but they are a massive part of going on and very similar I guess marketing platform as well or like marketing strategy because they're attracting new patients as well and need to go about doing that. And I would say their competition is actually probably incredibly more like higher comparatively because they're competing against a lot of dentists do dentures as well. So they
Absolutely.
have like more of a competition, I think, than even dentists do, just because they're open it up to a lot more. So that's interesting that your family is that way and you learned kind of grew up in dental, I guess, in the
Yeah.
dental realm. Tell us a little bit about how the new patient attraction works. So like when a patient is looking for a dentist, they're obviously going to be Google searching in my location. Like what are some things that a dentist can do that will help them attract those new patients through SEO? Like, is it like a website? Is it like, I know you and I had talked about like blog stuff and
Mhm.
backlinks. I think there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on there, but like tell us a little bit, a few things that maybe help with that attraction of new patients.
Yeah, and to expand on what you were saying before about denturists and competing with dentists, there's kind of three ways someone interacts with a dentist. It's either like an emergency, or it's a preventative thing like dentures, or it's a cosmetic thing like Invisalign and braces, something they want to enhance about themselves. So depending on the practice, we're going to deploy a different strategy. So if you're an Invisalign provider and you want more Invisalign cases, we would focus more on benefits, making it affordable, and positioning you in those places. And that's actually like for cosmetic related services, social media ads actually work really well because we can kind of go out and educate people on why they might want the product. Where when it's a preventative thing, that's where search really that's where we double down on search because people are only going to be seeking it out if they have the problem. So in the world of a general dentist, emergency dental search marketing is huge. That's where we see a ton of growth for our clients is focusing specifically on cases and treatments that people are dealing with and need a solution immediately. That's where Google
Okay.
Ads and SEO comes in really well. And then same for the preventative side with dentures. These are really big ticket cases for a lot of these practices. So to spend a couple $100s on acquiring a customer predictably is actually a really great way to grow. So just touching on that, can you repeat your question about where we started? I just wanted to lay that out first.
My question was, now I'm trying to remember because I
I
have
think I
more
remember you
questions
were.
now.
I remember now. You're asking about what can people do right now to basically enhance uh, their organic search. So the
Yeah.
first thing we do with every customer, what's really important, obviously, is the website. And one thing we really hit home with our websites is it's one thing to have a pretty website. It's another thing to have a website that is written and designed in a compelling way that actually makes people want to book a treatment or book a consultation with your business. So when we design our websites, we make sure that all the landing pages are fully detailed. We outline the benefits, we outline the services, FAQs, everything that person would need to know. And the benefit of doing that too is Google works for the searcher. So when someone searches on Google, Google wants to show the very best piece of content that person will want to see. So if we can design a page, not only that when they land on it, it has all the information they need that compels them to want to book, Google sees that and goes, this is better than all the other content. Let's put it first. So it's a combo of those two things. The other thing that I think a lot of people can do immediately is just optimizing their Google My Business page. So the Google My Business listing, you can sign up for it. It's free, but a lot of people just set it up and they kind of forget about it. But growing your reviews, building out the FAQ section, responding to reviews, having all of the relevant information there, we find just by optimizing that within the first month, within our SEO plans, it's one of the first thing we do. We can increase the amount of traffic coming to your website organically and the number of patients coming through pretty simply, and almost anyone can do that themselves. And if they want help, obviously they can contact me and I can kind of lead the way. But that's something I would definitely recommend for everyone.
Yeah, I noticed too, like when we started our business, that's the first thing that I did too, is like went in, did my Google business page, updated just like the hours that we worked,
Mhm.
updated like, yeah, questions, like all the little things that you think, oh, it doesn't really matter, but it does. Google thinks that's more of a valid business, which means it's gonna like track a little bit higher. It's going to show those as results, just even details of like the things that you do, the services that you offer
Mhm.
makes a big difference. And then obviously like blog posts and linking it to your website and all those little extra things just like help make your business look better on Google, which not only is for the searcher like to get you higher on that kind of search page, but also like just presentability
Yeah.
in the like the online space and the online world just makes you look more valid as a provider as well.
Mhm.
And just things up. And like for people who don't like update their hours, so like they're open, like they're not open on the holidays. If they don't update that they're not open on holidays, like it just doesn't look as good. People are like frustrated because they can't reach you.
Mhm.
There's like now like
Confused.
yeah, there's like chat functions on there as well, which I found very interesting now that you can like chat via Google Business Pages. Like it's very interesting that they're more and more developing on that side of things so that the business is more of like an that business page has become more of an interactive space
Mhm.
than it ever was before, which yeah, so it's a very like economical way to get started and just being like replying on like your reviews, which is interesting here. And I don't know what the rules are in BC, but Alberta, they're pretty strict on like how you can reply. I know that the ADA has some like marketing rules that we have to work with in between that, like replying back to the review status. So
Mm.
just encouraging dentists, if you're watching this, to go check your rules and kind of
Definitely.
get into whatever you're comfortable with in that area, because you can respond, but it's a gray area and you might need to go double check just to make sure that you're comfortable with following those guidelines from the ADA.
Yeah.
But essentially, it is a good way to rebuttal and talk to the patients and just look like you're engaged
Mhm.
with your audience, which I found very helpful.
Absolutely, yeah, you're spot on, and definitely, yeah, watching out for the rules and regulations in your province is huge. We've definitely run into that in the past, and thankfully, like the colleges are pretty like open. They'll give us feedback on what we need to change, but it's definitely good to know where your rules are because they are definitely very sticky with those things.
Well,
And I
and
was
they're different from province to province too, which I
Mhm.
find very interesting. So one is like way more sticky than a couple of the others in the western side.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's just important to know like if you have a practice in that area, just making sure you're aware of those marketing restrictions.
exactly. Yeah, and like going on that, I don't. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, I sure can.
Cool. Yeah, I want to show you kind of like the more importance around Google My Business. So if we look at the search query that I have here, dental implant cost Vancouver, just a query for this example, you can see that the top 3 or 4 listings here are all Google ads. So this is definitely one of the strategies we hone in on because you're going to be right at the top of Google. The upside is you get the immediate clicks, but the downside is you have to pay for every single click that comes through. If we go a little bit further down, you'll see we have these next 4 listings, which are all organic. So these people have written a really good landing page. They have good reviews on their Google, and Google has deemed them the most valuable content that I would want to see as the reader. So these people are effectively getting free traffic to their website, and they're more or less taking over this real estate on this search query. So that's the other part. It's and the pro of this is once you're listed, you can kind of reap the benefits of all that traffic coming to you more or less forever until someone knocks you out of that spot, and you don't have to
Yeah.
keep reinvesting for every click. So when we do marketing with a lot of our customers, we'll usually do both strategies. We'll focus on SEO for keywords that we think have the highest opportunity for long-term growth, and then we'll also focus Google Ads campaign budget focusing on keywords that we think we can get a really good ROI just by targeting those positions. And if I go a little bit lower, you'll see this places widget. And this is the Google My Business listings. So just by getting your business on Google My Business, you're going to get even more impressions from coming here. And ideally, if you really want to own a keyword, you would have an ad, you would have a top ranked web page, and you'd have Google My Business. And that way, anyone who's searching it, you're going to get a more likely, that person's going to be more likely to click through and become a patient for you. So that's kind of how search works and the 3 different parts of it. So I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And I think this is like lots of people just don't, this is not what dental people do. And so it's nice to even have this basic information of how it works together and how we can build it our own down, like step into it and kind of get things going. We know that like startups obviously aren't going to have like a massive budget to be doing these big marketing strategies. But even just getting started this way is super helpful. And like we talked earlier, about blog posts. Like if you have a website that has blog posts and just writing things that you do, like helps with those kind of like building up that content that you're talking about as well. just working towards that overall, getting as many kind of bots into your system as possible. It was interesting too. I learned recently, like social media, like you had said earlier, isn't like the number one way to attract. It used to be a very good way to attract, but now because of algorithms and the way things are and the paid searches, obviously companies get smart and they start charging for it, and then it becomes harder and harder to market through them. And so if you're marketing for target audience, it's nice to know that, like what you were just said earlier, just to reiterate it, is like that education-based sales. So if you're talking about things that you're doing, I think it goes back to like a little bit of like a brand model that you put together for your company. Like, what do you do? What are you selling? How are you distinguishing your practice amongst other practices? And then does that social media work better, or does this SEO like overall going to, I mean, both are going to be really great if you can do all, but like, where do you put your money? What's kind of the best return on investment for you? And like, how are you going to build your brand? If you're a really hip, trendy clinic, then maybe social media is your thing because you're attracting that like 20-year-old, 25-year-old group of people. Well, they're not going to be as much on Google as much as social media. And so it makes sense. But 20-year-olds, last time I checked, don't have that much money. So they might not be anybody's target market right now. Who
Yeah,
knows?
very true.
Maybe their parents are still bankrolling. I don't know. But looking for people that are going to be able to spend money and build up that brand is, and ideology of what you're having for your practice is really good. Tell us a little bit more about what we're seeing here on this SEO page.
Yeah, so I was going to break down kind of like the core principles of SEO just to explain more along the blog post line of things. So like, why would we even write content in the first place? So the first thing to note about SEO is it's really all about keywords. So just like I showed you in this query, dental implant cost Vancouver, that is a high value keyword. Every single month, there's thousands of people in Vancouver searching this exact query, and all of that traffic is going to these different providers. So the first thing we do is we do an audit of your business and your competitors. But what we want to do is we want to find the keywords that have the highest opportunity, meaning they get a load of traffic, they're really relevant to the service that you want to sell, whether that's Invisalign or dentures, whatever it is. And it has very low competition. And if we can find keywords with all three of those traits, it's really easy to snag that top spot with very decently low investment. And you can basically bank on all of that traffic coming to you and 10 to 20% of all of that traffic turning into an eventual patient. So that's the value of a keyword. Then there's the SEO content itself. So the way we rank for a keyword is by creating a landing page or a blog post about that particular topic and all of the subtopics it's related to. And we actually use, we live in the world of AI now, so we actually use a lot of really new AI tools that tell us exactly what we should write and tells us the score of the content. So for example, if the current #1 spot on Google for Invisalign cost is a 70 out of 100 content score, and we write a piece of content with a 90 out of 100 content score, we are going to snag that top spot. And that's going to make a big difference. And previous to AI and all these different tools, it was really hard to actually do that. A lot of people just guessed, or they just wrote articles thinking it would work. But now with the world we live in, we can literally just ask Google if it's good, and Google will tell us, and we'll adjust it to how we need. And then we know when we make a piece of content for our client, it's going to work. The next part of it is on-page SEO. So this is structuring your website, your headings, fixing any errors behind the scenes so that when Google is presenting the search options or the search listings in the query, it knows that they're sending that person to a safe and secure, fast loading, easy to read website. So that's another aspect of it. And then arguably what I think is one of the most important parts of SEO is the off-page SEO. So like I said before, there's keywords, then there's the actual content, which is what gets you on that search query. But then the way you climb the ladder is by building domain authority. So the way we do this is by building backlinks. And this is essentially the process of another website with a domain authority higher than yours linking to your website. And what that tells Google is that this other website trusts you enough to send their traffic to you. So the game itself is finding the winning keywords, then it's writing the best piece of content that Google would want to serve. And then last, it's having the most backlinks of everyone else on that query, and that will keep you at number one long term. And if we can achieve that top tier first Google listing and have the most backlinks, you can pretty much rest assured that you're going to dominate your competition for that keyword for years to come, and all of that patient base is going to come to you. And that's why I think SEO is so valuable, and a lot of people just don't understand it, or they don't understand how it builds their business long term. A lot of people see the price tag of spending a couple $1,000s a month for a year on SEO as a really big price tag, but if you extrapolate those results 5-10 years down the road, that's going to pay itself off tenfold. Especially if you're selling your practice. It's one thing to sell a practice with a website. It's another thing to sell a practice with a website that brings you 50 to 100 new patients every single month because you're placed in the right spot.
Well, and it's just like very interesting. So like some of the biggest concerns that I have when people are like looking to sell or they're looking to like transition out of their practice is like the first question of the new buyer is how many new patients a month do you get? Because essentially that's the lifeblood and the value of the practice is like how much new stuff is coming into the practice. And dependent on how many providers you have, you need to see a certain amount of new patient flow. It just has to happen in order for that new type of dentistry to be completed and can increase your production levels. It's all of those things connected together. And so if you can say like legitimately, we spend this much money and you think about it, the cost of an employee a month is, anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 a month. This is someone who's working for you that isn't an employee, but it is someone who's working for you. This is a website that is working for you to make sure that you're attracting business. No different than someone picking up the phone to book that appointment. You're paying someone, this website, to bring that stuff to you, and it provides you opportunity. And on the backside of that, it works. It's really smart to have a good trained team that has an operational system built in to be able to pick up the phone and get those patients into the practice by not creating too many obstacles on the backside of this whole process, right? So it's great to have a website that brings you in new people, but you have to have the trained staff in order to keep them staying in the practice and then also build them into the practice. It's without creating too many obstacles, like I said previously.
Yeah, absolutely. And like that's a big part of how we work with our clients too, is something I really hone in on is the feedback loop, and the value of a feedback loop. A lot of dentists, especially new clients who bring on, they're like, I have no idea. I just get a report once a month. I don't know if it's good or bad or how to even judge this. Where what we do is we do call and form tracking. So we actually measure every single conversion, which is a call or a form submission on the website. And then our team actually listens to every single phone call. We qualify them. We take notes on what we saw. If receptionists can do better here or they're doing great, we can then tell the owner or whoever the practice manager is what we're seeing, what we're learning, and communicate that feedback loop so that it can actually be worked on. And one thing I find with marketing a lot is an analogy I like to use is kind of like a bucket with holes. So a lot of people just have a website and they're spending all this marketing money, they're pouring all this money and flow into this bucket, but all of it's just getting washed out. And the value of having a really solid website that's written well, ranks well, easy to use, those things, that's what's going to, and having trained reception and everything that comes all the way through to the patient flow, all of that is what's going to make your marketing spend actually work and actually become a profitable machine. And a lot of people just spend money on their marketing. They're like, yeah, I got a marketing guy, it's being handled with, but they don't know how much business and opportunity they're actually losing. And they're not measuring it on a monthly basis. Like there's that famous quote, you can't grow what you don't measure. And a lot of people just blindly invest and they don't know, where we actually show you the analytics every month, and we show you exactly what we're learning so that we can compound that growth every month.
Yeah, and essentially like when we go into a practice, actually it's funny because the marketing is like one of the, I would say, 2/3 of the way through our program is when we start focusing on marketing. So 1/3, the first, very beginning part of our program is to like fix all of the operational problems, because it doesn't, like, this is the exact situation that we run into. It doesn't matter how much money you dump into marketing. If you're not catching it all, then what's the point? You're just wasting your money. You might as well just, drive down the highway and throw cash out the window, because that's
Yeah.
essentially what you're doing.
Hmm.
But yeah, so we always work on fixing the gaps and making sure that, patients are setting up for their recare, and patients are pre-booking, and patients are coming in and being treated well, and then they're being treatment planned, and then we're following up with them, and we're treating them like family, and building the brand model that we're looking at. And we fix all of those things first,
Hmm.
and then we spend money on marketing, because once those are all stable, then we can just really, that marketing dollar just goes that much further, and we're able
Absolutely.
to, like, like what you said, compound it quite quickly. And it's interesting when that stuff gets stabilized first, and then
Hmm.
you add marketing on top of it, all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, we're so successful. And it just happened overnight, and it's not.
Yeah.
You spend so much
No.
time fixing all these problems and scaling, and then when you go to do that scaling, that next stage, you're set, and
Yeah.
life gets a little bit less chaotic, because you can scale off of that model, versus
Hmm.
before, when it's just chaos and you just add more patients to the mix. What happens? It just creates more chaos.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think it's a really, really smart to kind of stabilize things first, and then build on top of that with these kind of principles that you laid out.
Hmm.
And just that SEO. I think it's just a very much, like, I feel like dentists and owners feel like it's just very overwhelming, and they get a constant barragement of, like, SEO, SEO, but they don't, because we don't understand it.
Hmm.
It feels very overwhelming to kind of delve in. But yeah, how would dentists reach out to you to, like, have this conversation and kind of, like, get a feel for what their practice might need, and what kind of budget they'd be looking at? Like, how would they have this conversation, and what does that look like?
Absolutely. So we start with an SEO audit first every time. So what you can do is you can go to our website, firemg.com. Fire Media Group is our name. And you can book a free discovery call with me, and I will sit with you for 30 minutes to an hour, educate you on whatever you want to know. We actually have a course coming out soon with all of our proven processes and information, so that if you are a practice manager or an owner and you just want to buy the information, learn it all, hand it off to your manager, and let them execute, you can do that. We can help them along the way, or we can do it all completely for you. It's whatever works best for your practice. So that will be coming out shortly. But like I said, we always start with an audit. And the reason we do an audit is because it allows us the opportunity to see where you rank. We get to see where you're missing out. So we will find those money-making keywords, and we'll present them to you, and show you exactly what we would do in the first year and what that would result in terms of patient flow. And then last, we actually compare your 3 to 5 top competitors. So we'll actually break down your competitors in your area and show you exactly what SEO strategies they're using, what their domain authority is, how many backlinks they have, what type of content score they have, so that when we make our strategy with you, when we build a 1 to 2 year plan, we can see exactly if it's going to work based on the competition in your area, and also based on the services you want to sell. We don't need to market for everything. If you just want to do Invisalign, or you just want to do dental surgeries, or you just want to do a specific thing, we'll hone that in for you. But that's the first step of the process, is doing the audit, and then that will give us all the information we need to properly build out a strategy and make sure that we have a high probability for success.
That's amazing. And I love that course idea. I'm super thrilled about it, because there's just so many, like, startups where they have time but not money. And I feel
Mhm.
like this might be a really great option for them to, like, get going until they can afford to pay for someone else to do it full time. But
Exactly.
get off the ground a little bit. And that's the clincher for a lot of people. If they take this course, they can invest, like, a little bit now. And then also there is, like, grants that you can get, I know, for that technology grant and, like, online stuff, that might be able to apply in this situation as
Hmm.
well.
Very true.
Which would be amazing, to take advantage of and utilize for that course.
Hmm.
So that's awesome. I'm super pumped that you guys are doing that, because I feel like it's just a nice way to offer some things for dentists that are, like, in that kind of group or that niche right now, that are trying to just grind away, and, new area, that kind of stuff. It's very difficult to kind of get that cutting edge. And this will be a little bit of a level up, especially if you don't have a massive budget, to work
Hmm.
with on this. But yeah, that's fantastic. I'm pumped for you guys. It's very
Yeah.
exciting.
Exactly. And I just find myself like educating people so often. I just want to give the information and just let people have it. And then if they want expert help or they just want to focus on growing their business, they can just hand us the keys and we'll take care of it for them. So it really is just offering those options and making information more accessible to everyone.
Yeah, I love that. Are you guys on social media and do you have like stuff like that as well?
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram at Fire Media Group. We haven't really posted a lot lately, but we're going to be coming out with a bunch of new case studies, a lot of client success stories. So definitely follow and keep tuned because there's going to be a lot of exciting stuff there soon.
Yeah, I'm pumped because you guys, I feel like every time I talk to you, you got something up your sleeve and something going on. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
we're no different. And that's why I think we like get along really well. It's because they're always
Yeah.
like, "Oh, what do you got going on?" Well, this is coming out. This is what we're doing. But yeah, I think Lucas, you guys are extremely intelligent, and I love that you guys teach while you're doing it. And that's really like these are our people, right? That teach people to do it and educate through the process. I think when people have a better understanding of how things work, then they can operationally make things better. They're unlocking different issues. I love that you guys do that follow up to see where things are breaking down because
Hmm.
that's kind of a clincher in most practices. There's a lot of little breakdowns that happen. Is there anything else that you would like to kind of talk about what you guys have going on or anything exciting coming up in the future besides your course that is going on that you want to chat with us about?
Um, Not particularly. The course is definitely a big thing we're working on, and we're very excited for it to come out. Yeah, we really love what we do. We have a great team. My business partner and I love waking up every day and working hard for our clients and achieving success in these areas. So yeah, we're very passionate. I look forward to meeting your connections and seeing who we can help. And yeah,
That's awesome. Well, I loved having you on, and if you guys, we'll get your contact information on the bottom of this when we post it on YouTube and on our little clips on social media, so that you guys can link up. If you guys ever want to talk to Lucas, I can guarantee you he's going to be able to help you guys out in any condition that you guys are in and kind of get you to the next steps. I'm always so impressed after talking to him and very excited about the things he has going on. So thank you
thank
so
you.
much, Lucas, for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it. And we look forward to what you have in the future. And you need to keep us posted on that course when it goes on social media and tag us so that we can push it out
Definitely.
to our clients too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very grateful to be here. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming out, and we'll see you next month. Oh, no, actually, we're going to take a short break for summer holidays, and we'll see
Nice.
you back in September because I need a break for summer holidays too. And I'm sure, like most people, office managers got lots going on, staffing, like leaving for holidays, but we're excited to catch you guys back up in the fall and see what kind of cool things we have going on then. All right, have a great day, guys. Take care.
Thank you.